Hi, I'm Ellen from Maximum Cross Stitch, and I'm just popping into Caroline's video to share with you my new release, Ann Robertson 1813. Ann Robertson 1813. She's lovely. Ann stitched her sampler using Algerian eyelets in the large initials at the top, satin stitch in the roof, and in one little motif down here. And there's some over one little creatures and critters down here. I also really like the little over one mini me. There's the me and there's the mini me. But the majority is cross stitch over two. I stitched it using Roxy Floss Co. flosses on 40 count dirty porcelain from Roxy Floss Co. I do provide a DMC and a Vera Soie 103 conversion. I'll show you the original. It's pretty dirty and faded. So you can see it's not in the best shape, but not bad. Ann stitched her sampler. It looks like it was done on around a 36 count linen, but she wasn't very particular about sticking to a grid or with her counting, as many of these little girls were. She was, say the border has a line of 7, 7 up, 7 this way, 7 this way, 7 this way, that kind of thing. Well, she would do 7 stitches, but one of those stitches might be over 1 might be over 3. So that was a little maddening to chart. So I decided in the end that I would chart it sort of to make it as the right size and the right proportions and keep the border more consistent. Now, while that does make it more pleasurable to stitch, it does mean that it is not a total reproduction. It's a close reproduction. So I think that while purists might not like that, I think it's probably for the majority of people who want to stitch, and it will be much more enjoyable to stitch it rather than having to worry about off the grid stitching and over one stitching where it should be logically an over 2 stitch. I do know a little bit about Ann. The sampler actually came with some provenance, so I will insert a little video with a voiceover talking about Ann and her sampler here. This sampler is the work of Ann Robertson, youngest daughter of James Robertson and Janet Young of Forebank, Dundee. She was born in Dundee on the 22nd of June, 1803, and died there unmarried. The initials on the top line are those of her father and mother and of Lieutenant Alexander Wynd, R.N. of Dundee, her brother-in-law, and Helen, her eldest sister. Those on the second line are James Robertson, her brother, David Robertson, her brother, John Robertson, her brother, and Janet Robertson, her sister. James Robertson and his sons, James, David, and John, were manufacturers in Dundee in 1809. In 1812, David, seeking adventure, signed indentures and went to sea. He was drowned at sea off the Cameroons. John sought adventure in London, living for some years in Norwich, and returning to Dundee, died at Forebank in 1868. James Robertson the younger married his cousin Isabel Downey, daughter of Lieutenant David Downey, Athole Highlanders. He continued to carry on business in Dundee, where he was known as the Laird. Janet Robertson married her cousin George Downey, the youngest son of Lieutenant David Downey of the 77th Regiment, the Athole Highlanders. So there you go. We don't know that much about Ann herself. We know a little bit more about her relatives, but sometimes that's what you can get with these old pieces. And is available now from my shop in PDF form at MaximumCrossStitch.com. And for the paper copy and called for supplies, you can go to Caroline's shop at evertote.ca for paper copies, thread, linen, all that good stuff. Yeah, so I really hope you enjoy stitching her. I sure did. She's just a very sweet, balanced sampler, and I think she would be a nice addition to any sampler wall. I know she will be for mine once I get her back from Caroline, because she's going to want it for a while. She's just the worst, that Caroline. Okay, thanks a lot. Talk to you later.